Got a couple of geese out here trying to figure out what all this water is. And a beautiful sunrise.
Get them going. Put them down in there. Or you want to get that? Make sure you slid over. You slid all the way over your way.
That got really quiet all of a sudden.
All right, let's pull. So you notice how quiet it is? This dam's never sealed up this quick, batch, or this good.
Yeah.
Out that tiger.
This way? This way, Curtis. Over here, all over the end. So, put it up here like this, on top, stretch it right to the, let's just tuck it down behind this board like this. Okay. Tuck it down about a foot or so. Right, you're swimming now. There. Tuck this down. Got it tucked.
Give me this little one.
You're not coming up very fast, is it?
Let's see how cold it really is.
What are we
Saying
gonna throw
we should
you
push
in?
Dad in it?
I could throw you in.
I could get in by my own choice too.
Good evening. Welcome to 10 Barn Farm. So Johnny has been working Cloud and started Cloud. We were planning on selling him just as a colt, but we decided that, well, Johnny kind of decided he wanted to work with him. So we got him gilded, and now it's time to start putting some time into him. So Johnny's been working with him, getting him used to a saddle and whatnot. So I'll show you some video of that. But first off, we were discussing today about riding him.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking that we should probably have one of the bigger boys ride him. No?
I kind of wanted to ride him. I think I'm big enough to get on him and ride him around and get him trained up. But
So, well, how are we going to do that then? Because he's a pretty good sized horse.
yeah,
You think you're big enough to do it?
yeah. He seems pretty submissive, and he's been really good.
Well, maybe we should think about that. I don't know. Because we could put Z on him for the first ride,
Yeah,
but is that going to bother you?
a little bit. It'll be fine.
I don't think it's going to be fine. Look at his face. So I guess we're going to have to see about this. Anyways, we'll see if Big Man here can ride this horse. So anyways, we'll get back to you on that. So giving the Scotch a shot. She got a couple of cuts from some barbed wire. So this is Scotch, Z's project horse, Jim's horse, and you can see her nose is healing up really well, where she skinned it up when she was in heat last, and she's getting ready to come back into heat. And the owners of this horse want us to breed her to Muffin, our new stud. So hopefully she'll take. And Z, we have a couple new scratches on her. You put the cut heel on her and kind of explain what happened.
Well, took her out one day, had her saddled up and everything. I was riding her and I rode her over to the homestead. She was doing really good, and I got off her at one spot where we usually take horses through, and there's wire next to it.
The wire's from a electric fence that we had in there in years past that we lay down, and when we need it we put it back up, so the wire was there.
Yeah.
So.
And she got her tail in it and her hind foot. I'm not sure which one, but it scared her, and I couldn't get her to stop and stuff. And
What do you mean you couldn't get her to stop?
she was just freaked out about it, and I was leading her, so I had to hold the lead rope, and I just couldn't get her to stop running around in a circle.
So she was running around a circle with you after the wire kind of caught on her tail or something?
Yeah, and it was stuck on her tail and tangled up around her a little bit.
So it wrapped up around the front here. You can see the cuts there that we're doctoring. And so she cut herself up here and there. That one's the worst cut, but it looks worse than it really is. It's just it's because it's in a crease and her it's scabbed up. We had her on antibiotics, and we're putting cut heel on it. It keeps the flies from messing with it and keeps it moist so that it doesn't doesn't get hard and scar up nasty. It should heal up just like her nose, so make sure you get enough on there. She's got a couple on her hind feet, but those are already pretty much healed up. And anyways, so finish telling the story. So she was running around in circles,
And it's right next to a pond.
a big pond. This pond's like 15 foot deep.
Yeah, and couldn't get her to stop, and she decided to bail into the pond, and so she jumped in there and swam across the other side and got out. But before we got her out, we cut the wire off her tail and stuff, and
Well, so she was running. So you're leading her next to these trees in the pond, and the wire caught on her tail, and she spun around and Z was trying to catch her. Z actually got knocked down during this commotion. He's lucky. The wire passed over him as she was spinning around. It didn't cut him up or didn't catch him up, and then she bailed in the pond to swim away. I was not there, and the only person that was there was Z, but it takes a little while for Z to tell a story sometimes, so I got to coax him along.
so after she jumped in the pond, I had little saddlebags on the back of the saddle, and those broke off when she jumped in. And so I jumped in the water and grabbed them, and I had pliers in them. And so I cut the wire, made sure she could swim all the way across, and when she got over to the other side, I got in the water and got all the wire off of her so that she wouldn't get tangled up anymore or scared anymore. And
so she swam across the other side, and then it's got to the other side. What happened there on the other side?
She kind of stopped over there halfway out of the water.
Well, there's a ledge there. The pond, there's a ledge, so she was probably standing on that ledge.
Yeah. And then that's where I cut all the wire off of her.
Okay. And then as she started to come out, what happened? She kind of started bogging down in some mud, right?
Yeah.
And she got stuck in the mud on the edge of the bank because of the bank there, and she couldn't get out. So then what happened?
I called my mom. She came down there, and then she called my dad because my dad was at work. He came and helped.
He was ditching school during this whole time. He wanted to ditch school so he could ride horses, I guess.
He had a sore throat.
He woke up with a morning sore throat. It's kind of like morning sickness.
Yeah.
But anyways, so
Dad came home and got the tractor and pulled her out with a strap.
yeah, put a strap around her. It was freezing cold. The water there is melted ice from snow drifts off the mountain up there, which you can still see, and that's what's draining. It melts and comes down through our wash, like we've explained before. So water's very cold, and we're really worried about her getting cramped up and getting too cold where she couldn't get out. And so when I got there, the horse was stuck in the mud. The tractor was in place, and the tow rope was there because I had said, hey, that's what we're going to need to get her out. And Zemira and I got in the pond and got a rope, got a strap around her, a big tow strap around her, and then tied it so it wouldn't tighten up on her around right where her girth would be. And then as I just picked her up with the tractor and backed up real slow and pulled her up on the bank. And she just laid there for a few minutes, and then she got up, and she was shaking so bad. So we started brushing her off, and we took her up to my dad's house, where there's a south-facing shed shop there that we have that protects her from the wind, but also lets the sun hit her. And we kept her there and fed her, and she quit shaking after a bit, and then took her to the house and washed her all up, cleaned her all down because she had mud all over. And that's when we could start seeing where the cuts were. So after we washed her up, and we put some miracle oil on her. What miracle oil is that?
Helichrysum and lavender.
Helichrysum and lavender, doTERRA oils. And we put that on her for the whole day to start with, to get the healing process. And then we administered antibiotics so she wouldn't get an infection, and used cut heal on her, the cut heal there, which is really, really good stuff. And so she's healing up really fine. I like cut heal because it really promotes healing, and the hair grows back much faster. You can see here that her hair is already growing back through here really well. So anyways, so that's the story about Scotch and the barbed wire. She does not like wire.
I don't think she's ever been around it though.
Yeah, I don't think she's ever been around barbed wire. we get a lot of horses through this place, and we take our horses through that spot all the time, and nothing ever happens. But the horses that we're normally riding are these Navajo res horses, and they've been around wire and sticks and all sorts of stuff, so that is something to say about them. There's some life lessons here about breaking horses that this has taught you.
With a horse, when you're working them and stuff, you got to be aware of like different kinds of horses. Like this one, never been around wire, so when I took her through there and she gets spooked by it a little bit, it would be a lot worse than if we take one of our other horses through there that have been around it. They won't spook as much or anything. Another thing is when you're getting other people's horses and training them and stuff, you gotta make sure you ask questions about them, what they know about them, what they've been around and stuff like that, so you can be prepared for that, kind of. Another thing I've learned is when like something bad happens like this that's urgent, kind of, that you can't freak out. You gotta try to just think of what needs to happen and what you need to do. Like I had to jump into the pond and get those pliers out of those bags to cut her free, to make sure she could get out of the pond without drowning or anything, and make sure we get her out.
And that's a gift. The ability to think through tragedy like that and think through something that's very intense is a gift from our Heavenly Father. And that's a gift that you've been given, and now you know that about yourself, and you will always react that way. When something is happening around you that's very intense or could be even very tragic, your brain will be clear. Good job, and good job on your quick thinking of taking care of her. And there is a special bond between Scotch and Z here, and there's a special bond. You can just see it in her eyes, see her eyes, how they go down. When he's petting her, you can just see it every time. When he starts petting her, there's a bond there, and because she knows that Z's got her back and she can trust him. And you would think that it'd be the opposite, that's what happened, but it's not, because Z saved her and pulled her out. You can just see that bond. You can see her demeanor when it's towards him. And the owner came out and looked at her a couple days ago after this happened, and one of the first comments that came out of his mouth when he was standing there, she's like, oh, or he's like, she wants to be petted, because she wants to love. And you can just see that, and that's something that Z has instilled on her, because she was not this way when we got her, but she loves attention. I mean, look at those eyes. He's rubbing her, and she just starts to relax and about fall asleep. So anyways, these two are good friends, and I think you're going to miss her. So
yeah, well, I hope we can all learn from this and be more vigilant, and so stuff like this can not happen as often and be prevented. And thanks for watching, and Barn Farm over and out.